This is the problem with doing things yourself. The good
Mm,
thing is you can run the show. You're driven, you're capable, you produce great work.
yeah,
Once you do, how are you going to tell people about it
yeah.
unless you have a whole PR team and a shitload of money that you don't
Mm.
mind dedicating to PR in the hope that people are interested and seek it out?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unfiltered Voices, the podcast that is all about busting the myth that self-published is second rate. I'm Kelly Nissen. I'm an author coach and a self-published author, and I'll be talking to authors, illustrators, and other self-published industry professionals about their choices, their journeys, and everything in between. So stick around. Today, I have the honour of talking to Maura Pierlot. Welcome to Unfiltered Voices, Maura, and thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me, Kelly.
Anyway, a little bit about Maura to start us off. Maura Pierlot is the author of 7 titles for children and young adults, and she's also the creator of the award-winning web series on youth mental health, Fragments. Maura holds a PhD in philosophy and specializing in ethics, and is a qualified art therapist. Now, that's something I didn't know. A qualified
Yeah,
art
that was a
therapist.
COVID baby.
There you go. And the founder of the fabulous Book Bench Project, which is a
Mm.
Canberra community initiative that celebrates reading. Drawing inspiration from the natural world, Maura divides her time between Canberra and Jamberoo on the New South Wales south coast, where she grows walnuts, macadamias, and avocados and hangs out with imaginary characters and local wildlife. I love that. So, Maura, you write stories that engage, enlighten, and empower, which I love. Can you tell us a little bit more about those themes and about your books?
Well, the engage, enlighten, and empower, believe it or not, that just occurred to me recently. So it might seem strange that, you set off to write every day, but you don't have like a designated mission or a goal. Like for me, writing's never been super rational. It's always been a release. It's always been a way to tap into myself. It's always been a way to put a name on emotions and things that I probably go through life day to day not wanting to deal with or not able to deal with or not having the time to deal with. So engaging, well, when I was growing up, for various reasons, far too complex to go into here, there was just a lot of trauma in a New York City, Bronx childhood, and it was a different time, so it was a different world back then. But I often felt maybe disconnected from the real world. I think I retreated into myself to try to make sense of some things. And for me, literature was always a release. It was always a way of just kind of embracing another reality where I felt like I belonged. So things that I struggled with or feelings I couldn't name, I felt very at home in a world of characters where I thought, oh my God, that's me. So for me, engaging, like being embraced by the arts, has always been what I'm on about. And you can't really enlighten or affect any kind of change, empower people unless you can engage them. So I guess the work I try to do, I just try to have there be some sort of angle from an arts or a point of reason or a point of clarity, not a commercial point, to draw people in, to say, here's a relatable topic. Let's all chat about it. I don't have any answers, but I have lots of questions. And if you come along for the ride, maybe just by having a conversation like we are today, we can work out some of these issues, put some flesh on it, name kind of some things that we need to, some roads identify that we need to go down. And enlighten, yeah, I mean, philosophy background, I probably was attracted to that for a reason, because I love ideas, I love clarity, I love trying to make sense of things. I love coming up with solutions and empowering. Yeah, for me, all of my work, and I only realized recently, is really about trying to give people a voice, trying to focus on agency, especially for kids who feel like they don't really have a say and they don't really count, and trying to use that agency to make good choices and to affect change. So my picture books just briefly, like what will you
Yeah.
make today? It was all about coming together as a team, character, cooperation, collaboration, citizenship, all those good C words. Alphabetter, a better you and me from A to Z was all about making good choices with a host of values underpinning that. And more recently, Clutterbugs is really looking at environmental issues, but from a fun, relatable scenario, where a child has way too much mess in her room and can't even find her way out, but goes on a journey where her world is literally opened. She starts seeing the big picture. I think it's all about kids seeing that not only are they important in their own right and in their family and in their community, but they're part of a larger world and they have a say in
Mm.
that world. And the choices and the decisions and the acts that they undertake have a ripple effect in that world. So it's to start thinking holistically from an early age.
Mm,
Oh, I'm exhausted
absolutely.
from telling you
Yeah.
my life story now. I need to
Yeah.
lie down.
But you only told us about three of your books. So what about your YA books as well? Because they
Yeah.
are equally as, if not more, meaningful,
Mm.
and certainly embrace that theme that you have running.
Yeah, and I love writing picture books, but I think my heart has always been in YA, probably because I still feel like a kid, and also because I think a lot of those issues from growing up, from adolescence, from high school, I mean, not to scare anyone and to say they're scarred, but they linger with you,
Mm,
those issues. They all go to selfhood and who you are as a person. And most people in life don't really have a true sense of who they are. They pretend pretty well day to day. They play many roles. They have many identities, but we live in a world that's so fast-paced, so complex, so content-driven, with so much trivial that you don't have time to talk about the real things and the things that matter. So for
mm,
me, I had a growing sense long before COVID. But when my kids were growing up, even though they emerged unscathed from most mental health issues, except for the normal hormonal fluctuations of adolescence. But I had a very strong sense that a lot of people were struggling with a lot of
mm,
issues all along a theme, but no one was talking about it. Schools weren't picking it up. There were girls wasting away and not eating, but there didn't seem to be any discussion around that. It's like, that'll be
mm,
kids. Girl, that's girls for you. It was almost as though we weren't allowed to talk about it. We were afraid of maybe, being inappropriate or overreach, or we didn't have the vocabulary and the skill set because we weren't
mm.
used to it. And then someone came up with Are You Okay Day, which is brilliant. But that's kind of, implying that there's one day of the year that we're allowed to say, Hey, are you okay? What about the other
Yeah,
364?
I've
So
always thought that. Yeah, agree
yeah,
totally.
I've just had this strong sense that not only that we needed to talk about it, but I had a strong sense that I, as an individual, myself, from my world, from how and where I grew up, from things I struggled with, that I almost had to, in a cathartic way, write about these things. All the three kids were in high school. They kind of did okay on that, like socially, mental health wise, they were great in school. It's just the damn grades that was a bit of a
Mm,
problem, because I think they were, more focused on the other opportunities and networks available, but some of their friends not much so. And I remember asking my kids, like, what's going on there? And they're like, well, they can't talk to their parents, or she'd never say that to her mother, or they don't have that kind of relationship, or their parents would never ask that. I think as parents, we somehow assume kids are going to go in their rooms, slam the door, not talk to us. And that's just hormones. That's just adolescence. Could be, but it could
mm,
also be the sign of something else. And I'm not saying we need to helicopter and that we need to overreach and that we should be asking too many questions. But I think for me, from our kids growing up and just from my writing, it's just creating an open, a safe environment where they know there's really nothing they could do that they're going through that wouldn't be understood or experienced or validated by someone else like their parent who's probably been through the same things. And
mm,
even if they haven't, that they could have an open conversation and just say, I'm here for you if you want to talk about it. But I applied for a grant feeling almost compelled to write about these things. And
Mm,
oddly enough, like I'm very intuitive, but I just knew I was going to get that funding. It was very nominal funding, but I just knew, yep, I'm going to get that. And when I get it, I'm going to write this and then I'm going to get that. And it
mm.
seemed to build. And I'd like to think that's a reflection on the work because I am very proud of that work. But I think
Mm.
it's also an indication of the timeliness and the relatability and the importance of the issues.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that led to
absolutely.
funding. Yeah,
Yeah.
more funding to adapt the work and then to turn it into a web series and then to turn it into a feature-length film. But if I could segue um, to introduce self-publishing, well, here's
Mm,
the good news is I have literally an award-winning web series that I really think is worth looking at. Like, I'm not good touting my own work because you sound up yourself, but it's super high quality. It was produced with a fabulous local team.
mm,
It tackles these issues kind of with grace. And it definitely has helped many people because I
mm.
have the outreach from people who have messaged me directly to say that the impact it's had, how they've started to talk for the first time as a family, how someone got professional help, which was on the cards but never discussed until they saw these episodes and they related and they could see themselves. And
Mm.
it's on YouTube. How many followers or subscribers do you think I would have?
Oh,
Like,
I
take a
I
stab.
want to
All
say
that work.
thousands, but
I would say maybe eight. This is the problem with doing things yourself. The good
mm,
thing is you can run the show. You're driven, you're capable, you produce great work.
yeah,
Once you do, how are you going to tell people about it
yeah,
unless you have a whole PR team and a shitload of money that you don't
mm,
mind dedicating to PR in the hope that people are interested and seek it out amongst the other 393,000 shows that are coming up when they search that keyword?
yeah,
So the
absolutely.
sad part is I'd love to get it out there, but unless someone throws a whole lot of funding at me, I
Mm.
don't see that happening. And
Well, you
that
never
happened even
know.
with the play.
Yeah,
Man,
I know it's hard, and it's such like there's so many important topics raised by traditionally published as well and self-published authors, and then you with your with your web series, and there's just so much clutter out there. It's hard to sort of weed through and find that, and I think that's the one of the that is probably one of the most off-putting things about self-publishing. It's like, okay, that's great, I'm going to put all of my time and energy into this, and
mm,
I'm passionate about this and I know it's good and other people have told me it's good, but how do I get it out there? And it's
mm.
tiring at the end of the day.
Distribution is the killer,
Oh, it
so you
is.
can,
Yeah.
there's pros and cons, but it can grind to a halt.
Yeah.
And the larger companies, for all the work they do, they command the majority of the market share,
Mm.
and that's capitalism, and it happens in every industry.
Yeah.
Not by any means trying to slight the publishing industry. That's just simple economics.
Mm.
But for
Absolutely.
work, particularly about issues that are timely and relatable and complex and important,
Mm.
maybe the industry can just keep an eye out for how to assist. Like how can we coexist harmoniously
Mm.
within the industry rather than
Yes,
be pitted against each other? Why is it an either or? Why is it an
exactly.
indication of quality or not? Because, oh, you did it yourself. Does
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
mean you tried to do it through other channels and couldn't? So you're like
Yes.
a reject and now is a last resort default position?
What I call the archaic opinion about self-publishing lies in the fact that it's, oh, you're self-published. Oh, okay. You're only
Mm.
self-published. Oh, didn't you have any luck with the traditional publishers? Like some people choose to go with self-publishing right at the outset for a
Mm.
variety of reasons. But like you said, the distribution and the marketing and just getting the word out there is I'm sort of disappointed you don't have a magic wand, Maura, for this.
Yeah, I wish I did,
Wouldn't that be
April. I wish
nice?
we all
But
had magic wands.
yes, absolutely. So
Mm.
it is interesting though, because I love that like you can see things from both angles, because your
Mm,
books are a mix of traditionally published and self-published. So we know that you can see things from both sides. So my question then is, apart from, oh, do you have a magic wand, is how do you
mm.
think that the industry as a whole and the literary world in general can change or should change to better recognize all authors? You know, what can we do to ensure, for want of a better word, to ensure equality?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't have a
Mm,
magic wand. I wish I did. I wish I had a list of answers I could read off. I think just
mm,
thinking about it, I knew we'd be chatting, so I've had it on my mind. Um, I'm of two minds because I think there needs to be some sort of recognition and the will and the desire amongst
mm,
the industry, key players, to kind of embrace
mm,
um, people who have gone the self-publishing route. And I can picture
mm,
everyone rolling their eyes now, especially publishers. But I suppose what I'm saying is you could be on about diverse voices, and there could be many categories. And I know this when applying for grants and
mm,
fellowships, which I hardly do anymore. There's many categories you could fall under, right or wrong. And I think the context for that is there are some people who don't have a voice,
mm.
and we actively want to solicit those voices, and we're going to do what we can to promote and to make it easier. So we're going to
Yeah.
say, just there's no quota. I'm not a fan of quotas for any
Mm,
reason. Um, we're just going to say, we have you on our mind, you're on our radar, and we want to broaden our scope. One of the categories might be disability. I mean, it could be, there's lots of different categories you could tick. I
yeah.
actually think self-publishing is
Mm,
seen as a liability. I don't think it
yeah.
is a liability, but I think it's seen by the industry as a liability and by the public to some extent,
Mm,
because when people started off, they kind of conveniently forgot about editing and proofreading. So
yes.
a lot of the work just seemed to be like a fourth grader, kind of, those things you used to do in school where you'd put a ribbon around it and here's my
Yes.
book.
Yep.
It was maybe a few steps above that.
Mm,
But now I
mm,
just
mm,
think why not extend that to just say, if you're not traditionally published, we want to hear from you. There could
mm,
be mentorships available. I think that published traditional authors, especially those with some standing within the industry, could serve as mentors specifically in targeted programs for self-published authors. And this
mm,
isn't someone like, I have an idea, I want to do a book, but maybe some who have tried. They've put in the hard yards. They've gone through the process. They've
mm,
shown their commitment and their dedication to the craft. There's not an issue of quality with their work. It's an issue
mm.
of, publishers will say there's a lot of work that's very impressive and,
Oh, yeah.
complex
Yep.
and beautifully written, but there's just not enough money to publish
Yes.
every book worth publishing. It's not even a reflection on your work or you as an author.
Mm,
Sometimes it is. But there could be mentorship, like targeted programs. There could just be people, and I know I've done this in different industries, just people giving back. So people
mm,
saying, like volunteering, because everything is available at cost. Money, money, money. Pay me $80, 320, 240. You
mm,
can do it at the workshop with the code, and that unlocks this. And then you get 2 hours with them and 3 hours with them. And that's great if you have the money and you're
mm,
chosen. But why not just have a loose kind of commitment? And I've done this in many industries, and I didn't really have the time, to be honest.
mm,
But I felt like I had to, like that was my role. If I've succeeded in another industry and someone needs help, why wouldn't I give them 3 hours a week, even if I didn't have that 3 hours? I
mm,
guess, that was before paying it forward became like a big thing. So maybe we need to pay it forward more. And
mm.
people will say, well, I'm trying to get my work published, even though they
Yep.
have 18 books. Yes, and we know, and it's hectic. Even if you're a successful author, it's hectic, and you still have to market.
Yeah, oh,
You
yeah.
still have to go out there. You still have to do the work. It's not like you're
Mm,
resting on your laurels. Oh, I'd just peel grapes all day and occasionally type with one hand.
hmm.
But why not just say, I'm like a buddy system?
Oh, that would be
because
ideal, wouldn't
then
it?
that person you've buddied, they can then one day be a mentor for someone else and it goes,
Mm,
has a follow-on effect, you
yes.
know? I'm
Yeah,
not sure if
absolutely.
that even
Yeah.
makes sense,
But
but
just on that whole paying it forward thing. So I sort of just thinking as you were talking there that the whole idea of like mentorships and just giving back. If you've had a little bit of success or you've got a little bit of knowledge, there is like an a joy, an intrinsic joy
mm,
in actually
mm.
sharing this with other people. But I just think this whole paying it forward thing, which is a lovely concept, but it's almost being worn as a badge of honor now. It's like, oh yes, I'm it's almost I feel like there's people have got stickers that I paid it forward,
Well, look,
not
I've thought
so,
so many days about not going on social media because I wake up every morning and I scroll through my feed and it's just in neon virtue signaling would be
yes.
the term.
Mm,
I like I grew up in a house where we did a lot of community work and a lot of work with just different groups of people. We had an
mm,
open door policy, it's just the way my parents were. Someone needed a place to stay, something to eat, someone to talk to. They knew where to come. And our house has been like that to a lot of our kids' friends. And no, I don't have a calling card and I don't post about that
yeah.
because I would actually cringe. And even like I'm saying it now, so I guess I am kind of posting, but I'm saying it to make a point.
Yeah.
I hope there were people like that. That's probably why I write and I'm always going on and on and on. And anyone who knows me about
Mm,
values, because it comes from a place of values, not religion. I grew up in a
mm,
very Catholic household, so there was religion tied up with that. But I think even if you took the church and mass and Sunday school and all that out of the question, we were just still expected. Like the golden rule was drummed into us from birth. And even with our kids, even when I would bemoan their academic performance, and looking back, they were probably not at the best school for where they were at. I always thought, you're just great people. Like you will
yes.
do anything for
For
anyone who
anyone who
needs help.
needs help.
You're the one they come to. You're the one who says,
Mm-hmm.
like you're thinking, oh, I don't have time and I really wanted to do this, but I won't go to that party because I sense you need help. So I felt like I achieved as a parent by somehow raising, although you could just say that's the way they are, had nothing to do with us as parents, but somehow raising kids who were other oriented and could
Mm,
see and be empathetic to, when other people, I guess, were hurting or needed an ear, or needed someone to talk to, just needed, we've had people here that they just need to be around family. You don't
yeah.
even need to talk. They just want to be with in a house with commotion and dogs and laughing. It,
Yeah.
it could be anything for anyone. But most people these days, it's like, hi, I gave a check to this organization. Let me post as I'm handing them the check because
Yes.
it's all about me
Yep.
handing them the check. And I'm thinking, well, isn't it really about that organization getting the money? And I
Mm,
would never post anything we've given to anyone because then it's
mm,
all about me. Look at
yep.
me giving
What am I
this,
going to get
doing
from this? Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what, not every morning, I just read a few before I came on where I go, good God, why don't people get it? We
Yeah.
live in an age now where people think everything about them has to
Mm,
be kind of for public consumption.
yes.
I
Yep.
did something good today. Look what I helped these people. I did that. Yes, but you know what? You could even have more time to help more people if you didn't try to craft it and sell it, and
Mm,
curate it, on social media. So why do we feel the need to do that? I'm not sure, but it just
yeah.
drives me a little bit insane.